Hi, I'm Mel and welcome back to another video. In today's video I will be making a patchwork, or a very simple patchwork blanket for my best friend's baby. So I'm so excited to meet her and give her her present. So for this you will need 6 fat quarters of fabric, and I brought these back in October at the Knitting and Stitching Show. I showed them in a video. But if you haven't seen these before, they are from Higgs and Higgs fabric, I think. Yeah, Higgs and Higgs. So this is the fabric, the main fabric for the front. You will also need 1 meter of this, it's called plush fabric, and it's like really snuggly and it's just got the bubbles all over it. And I've obviously chose pink, but if you're doing this for a boy or unisex, obviously you can pick any colour you want. So that, you'll also need a pair of scissors, a tape measure, some pins, which are in my lovely Tiffany box, but that's my pins, and you'll also need a sewing machine and thread. So first of all, the first thing you need to do is work out where you want to put each fabric and cut it up. So I'm just going to do this cut the fat quarter into 4, and then each quarter of the quarter go into 4 as well. So it's going to be a smaller square and then across. And so obviously, because I've got 6 fabrics, this will work lovely, and you just need to work out which one you want where, basically. And I love this fabric, especially like the unicorn ones. They're lovely, and unicorns are very in at the moment. So can't wait to make this. So first of all, I'm going to cut out the fabric into the squares I want. So because this fabric, the fat quarter, is into a square, I've just folded it into a triangle, matched this edge up with the edge underneath, and I'm just going to cut this off now, just because to make them square. So now each bit of material is a square. I'm going to fold this in half, like so, and then cut it down the edge, down the fold. So now each fat quarter square is into 2 pieces. We're going to fold this in half again so it makes a square.
So now each fat quarter's into 4 squares. We're going to take 1 square at a time and fold this in half, and then once it's cut, half again to make it into 4 small squares.
So it's a different day now because we ran out of thread. So I went home to mine and got some, and I'm about to lay out all of the squares in the pattern that I'd like, take a photo of it, and then using the sewing machine, sew all of the front squares together. So I'm going to show you or play around with how I'm laying it out now and show you. So you won't need all of your squares for this unless you want to make a massive blanket. You probably only need half, maybe a little bit more or less depending on the size of your blanket, but we'll do that now.
So I'm at my mum and dad's and I'm using my mum's sewing machine, but my mum's sewing machine is the newer version of my one basically. So it's a Genome model 7025. You can use any sewing machine that does a straight stitch basically. So I've got pink thread because of the pink colour in it all, and obviously the backing is pink, and I've got it on the straight stitch, and length of the stitch is just about between 2 and 3, and I will show you, I'll stitch this all through now. I'm going to take a row at a time and then sew them all together. So 2 rows, then sew them together, 2 rows, add them onto the other 2 rows, etc, etc. So I will do that now and sew them for you. So they're all squares as well, so they should all join together perfectly. I'm just doing a normal seam allowance. So as you can see here, I've done the blanket to the most of the blanket, and that's the top bit that I did earlier. So I'm gonna now sew them together and then go up and press it. Everyone knows how to use an iron. Just make sure that these seams are all flat and sew it out nice, and then I'll be back to put the back on. So we've just pressed it, and now I am going to just cut away the threads, the loose threads and that have come through to the front while sewing it, and then my mum's going to help me, but we're going to pin the back onto the front, and then I will sew that again on the sewing machine back up there, and then it will be finished. And actually I really like how it's looking so far, so I'll show you it now. So we're laying the right sides of the fabric together, and then using my pins here, we're going to pin the back to the front basically, and then I'm going to use the sewing machine again to sew it. So we're just going to pin this really the whole way round, lots of pins, because it does move, this plush fabric does move quite easily. So it's all pinned now, and I'm going to sew it round, leaving this bit here open for turning inside out, so do that now. So now I'm going to take all the pins out, turn it in the right way, and then stitch the edge back up together. So just quickly before I sew this up, I've turned it in the right way now, and I'm just going to stitch right close to the edge all the way along where the seam was open for me to turn it inside out, and then the blanket will be done and I'll show you it all done. So I've just laid this out on the table for you so you see the finished thing, and I think it's actually really nice, and I can't wait for the baby to be born and give it to her. And obviously you can see this plush back. So now I'm just going to go over it. I've just found a bit of thread hanging out on one of the bits, so I'm just going to trim it up again. But that is the blanket complete, ready to give it to the baby. Obviously if you wanted it for a bigger size, you could just obviously double it or triple it, whatever you wanted. But I think this is lovely, and I really love like the unicorns on it and everything. So that's it for today's video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Please comment down below if you've ever made a blanket, or if you are interested in making a blanket. Please also subscribe, push the notification bell to see when I post, and thanks for watching. Bye!